Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Flagler Weather Info, and this is our look at the weather for the weekend and the week ahead. This is something we generally do on Saturdays. Sometimes we do an update middle part of the week, and we're going to go ahead and start talking about what to expect as we go through the weekend, and also a look at the tropics, and also look at temperature, the heat index and all that stuff. So there is you don't see anything out there right now, but there's potential for tropical development off the east coast of Florida here, and that's going to be in the early part of next week. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But you can see some showers and thunderstorms, which you typically see offshore during the overnight hours. It's a typical feature of the summer, and maybe a little smoke out here over the Gulf, or maybe some Saharan dust. We do have some of that coming in as well. Plenty of sunshine across the state right now, but the clouds will be bubbling up. We can expect those showers and storms to kick off again. So let's talk about the tropics. So, yes, we do have something that the National Hurricane Center has just posted. This area here, basically what they're saying as of 8 o'clock this morning, they're expecting a low pressure area to develop. Now, there's nothing there yet. That's the key point. There's nothing there yet, but they're expecting a low pressure area, just basically a little spin in the atmosphere, to develop offshore the southeastern coast of the United States in the early part of next week. Now, it's going to be on the tail end of a front. And sometimes you can get tropical systems off the tail end of fronts. Sometimes that happens. Slow development of the system is possible over the next early next week, and it's expected to wander slowly westward, and that's where we kind of have to pay attention. And because if it develops somewhere in the southern, remember, it can develop anywhere in this yellow area. If it were to develop on the southern end of it and kind of wander towards us, it's going to cause conditions to deteriorate on the East Coast. And how substantial that gets will be determined on exactly what, if anything, does develop out here. There's a lot of what ifs and maybes at this point. There's no way to know. There's no earthly way to know exactly what's going to come of this, if anything at all. But this is hurricane season, and so whenever we see something like this, it's always a good idea just to pay attention to it, and just double check your supplies and stuff like that, because sometimes things can rapidly develop and sometimes things can rapidly change. In 2012, we actually had Tropical Storm Debbie that developed out of something like this, and it made landfall just north of Flagler County. We had gale force winds blowing through the entire county, and that thing rapidly developed. It started as a very weak tropical storm, and then inside of a day, it was a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm, and it made landfall somewhere around Jacksonville. So, and that was in 2012. So, you can get rapid developments out of these things from time to time. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen this time, but this is just something that we should be watching and just paying attention to. Don't go to sleep on it, because I know it's a holiday week coming up and all this other stuff and everything. Just stay up on what's going on with this. And again, it never hurts. It never hurts at all to check your supplies and stuff in the event that something does spin up. So let's go ahead and take a look at some satellite imagery here. And let's see, what do I want to look at here? Let's do this for right now. So you can kind of see all the Saharan dust and everything. See this patchy area right here? That's all Saharan dust that's blowing across from Africa. And that actually helps hinder tropical development. But the area, what they're watching, you see this front right here, this is going to come further south and stall like just north of us or across the area. And when it does that, that's when that potential of development will be somewhere off the East Coast here. And nothing might come of it. It's just one of those things that we're just going to have to watch and keep an eye on. So let's get into some more details here. So as we go through the next few days, high pressure over Florida and tropical moisture, though, plenty of it, because where the high pressure is, it's going to kind of want to push showers and storms towards the East Coast today. So likely showers and thunderstorms most likely again today. Tomorrow, that rain chance is significantly less. We'll get into that. But as we get into Sunday, you can see the high pressure begins to move off a little bit. But as we get into Monday, you can see this front starting to drop down now. And that's the area that they're watching. And they think that there's a possibility that something could develop out here with that. So let's get into some more details now, and we're going to take a look at the hazardous weather briefing. And so this is from the National Weather Service, and you might see sometimes Lady Storm will update you on all of these items, but this is our main full broadcast right now. So scattered strong thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. 40 to 50 mile per hour winds will be possible in the strongest storms. Now, there'll be a few storms around, and most of us will miss the worst of them, but where they do occur, you could get winds up to 55 miles per hour, frequent lightning strikes, and torrential downpours. And then we're going to see a little bit more widely scattered to isolated hit or miss storms when we get into Sunday. So Sunday looks to be the drier day of the weekend. Hot and humid conditions continue through Monday. Numerous showers and storms are expected Monday and Tuesday. And then this is the key point right here is potential for a slow tropical development off the southeast coast early next week. Now temperatures, we're going to take a closer look at that in just a minute, so I'm going to skip through that right now. We don't care about river flooding in southeast Georgia unless you're going there. And droughting conditions have been slowly improving. And even though the soil might be moist from recent rainfall, the drought is basically a measure of where we're supposed to be with rainfall from like the beginning of the year to now. So even though we've had some rain, quite a bit of it the last few days, we still have a drought going on, though it has eased some. All right, let's get into the further details of the tropics here. So again, that weak low pressure system may develop, and this is a key point right here, may develop somewhere in this area here. And that's going to be associated with a front that's just going to be stalling off down there. There is slow development possible as the system slowly tracks westward. Now, what are the local effects right now? So widespread showers and storms associated with the stalling front can be expected. That's basically just going to drive up our afternoon and evening showers and storms. We're at this point not expecting all day rain at this point. And again, this can change. This is why it's important to pay attention to these things. We could see an increase in rip currents on Tuesday and Wednesday. Could see an increase in surf and that kind of stuff if something does start wound up out there. So again, maintain your tropical readiness. Keep your supply kits stocked up. Know your emergency plan and know your evacuation zone. And that's good advice anytime through the hurricane season. But again, I just want to stress it's just way, way, way too early to know specifics about this. So just be aware it's there, and just be aware that, we could have some issues with it. Very low end chance of that, but we could be dealing with that at some point next week. So let's look at temperatures. High temperatures today, getting up into the mid 90s for most of us, right around 90 at the beaches there. Quite hot out there. Tomorrow, we're going to cook a little bit more. Still about 95, 96, 90 at the beaches. Monday, up into getting into the upper 90s in some locations, especially along this US 1 FEC corridor here. Flagler Beach, Marineland getting up to about 90. And then we start to cool down a little bit on Tuesday with temperatures getting into the lower 90s. And then temperatures Wednesday right around 90 degrees. And then about 90, 92 Thursday. And then Friday, about 93, 88 to 93 degrees. Now, looking at the heat index numbers, let's go and take a look at that real quick. So what is the max heat index expected? So this is our heat index today, 106 degrees. 108 is heat advisory criteria. So about 107, 109, that possibly could be heat advisories issued tomorrow. We'll have to see how that shakes out. This is for Sunday. This is from Monday. Looks to be the hottest day with heat indexes challenging 110 degrees in several locations, including Palm Coast. And then a little bit of relief, but still, you're not going to notice a difference. Tuesday is still quite potently hot. And then we start to see things ease off a little bit middle part of the week. Maybe we'll be getting some of that unsettled weather in here to help cool things down. And then staying relatively hot throughout the week. Now looking at low temperatures, and let's get to that. Oops, sorry. They've changed their system here, so it's still learning. Generally, low temperatures, we're not looking at anything major. Lows in the 70s throughout the week, so really no big changes there. So let's talk about precipitation. Let's talk about rain chances here. So let's go ahead and get into that. So today, we're looking at about a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly countywide. You see those chances decrease a little bit over here on the East Coast, and the increase inland. That's mostly because the sea breeze may keep some of the bigger storms away from the coast, kind of like what it did yesterday. Tonight, look for low rain chances of about 30%. Tomorrow, those rain chances really low. So Sunday looks to be the drier day. It's going to be hot out there, though. Make sure you are staying hydrated. Rain chances right around 10 to 20%. Same for tomorrow night. And then Monday, those rain chances jack up to about 70% across the county, 60 to 70%, and then lingering into the night with about a 40% chance. And then Tuesday, about a 75 to 80% chance as that front gets in the picture here. And then Tuesday night, about 20% chance. And then Wednesday, we're looking at about a 50% chance. And then things dry out a little bit. And of course, this part of the forecast is going to be driven if we have any issues out of the tropics. So this might get tweaked around a little bit if that system, that the area that they're expecting to possibly develop offshore, if that does indeed take shape. So beyond this point, we could see some big swings in the expected forecast. But right now, about 30% chance of shower storms on Thursday, dry Thursday night, and then Friday, about a 20 to 25% chance, and then Friday night into Saturday. Too early to get into the 4th of July yet, but we'll be back to talk about that. How much rain are we going to get? Let's go and talk about that right now. Let's go look at our full 7-day total. And maybe inch and a half county-wide. Well, southern part of the county. Maybe about an inch elsewhere. And again, this is going to be the average. You could see some places to get a lot more rain than others. So before we pop off here with the local forecast, let's talk about winds right now. Are there any wind gust concerns? Well, about 15 to 20 miles an hour today with the sea breeze. 10 to 15. Now, this does not include your thunderstorms. Just keep that in mind. So 15 to 20 by tomorrow night. And then 10 to 15 by Monday. 10 to 5 to 10. 10 to 15 by Tuesday. And then winds get, 15 to 20 by Wednesday. And again, if anything does develop out of that system offshore, these wind numbers may get changed. So right now, we're not looking in too bad a shape with the winds. Probably more of a rain thing than anything else. But again, remember, things can dramatically change. So do stay up to date what's going on. So let's take a look at our long-range weather now. This takes us into the middle part of July here. First week of July, we're looking at temperatures be averaging above normal. So if you're going to any of the 4th of July events, do not underestimate the heat. Make sure you drink plenty of water and bring plenty of water with you. Wear sunscreen. I work some of these events and I've seen people pass out from heat exhaustion. So do not underestimate that heat. Looking at the precipitation chances, look to be about average for what we would normally see this time of year. So let's go further on as we go into the middle part of July. Look for, again, temperatures to be averaging above normal. Precipitation chances, if I can get it to load here, look to be a little bit above average. So looks like things are going to be warm, maybe a little bit more wet as we go into as we approach the middle part of July. So let's talk about sargassum seaweed, because that's been a thing. And taking a look, right now we are in the low to medium risk areas of getting additional sargassum seaweed up on our beaches here. Down South Florida, there's higher risk down there. So this is where we can still see some sargassum seaweed washing ashore, but it looks like it's easing off, at least for now. We'll keep an eye on that, but that's the way things are looking at the moment. So that's going to wrap things up right now. Again, just in short, expect a pretty decent chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms today. Lesser chances on Sunday. Area in the tropics off our east coast here. There's an area of potential development early next week. That is just something we'll keep an eye on. It is just, again, way too early to know if it's going to have any effects on us or not. Again, nothing might come of it or something might spin up. And then if something spins up, then we will just monitor and see what that thing exactly does. And thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. So, anyways, that's where things stand right now. You can share this video with your friends. If you just come on, you can rewatch it. We have a YouTube channel. You can follow us at Flagler Weather Info on YouTube. And we'll be posting this video here. We're on TikTok. Look us up, Flagler Weather Info on TikTok. And, of course, right here on Facebook. So, everybody have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Again, main concerns is the heat. Do not underestimate it. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you got sunscreen on. If you're going to lay out there in your bikini, make sure you got plenty of sunscreen on so you don't turn red and it'll ruin your day. Make sure you stay hydrated so you don't fall out from the heat. And again, keep an eye on the tropics as, there's something out there being watched and very, very low chance, but things can change. Everybody out there have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. And thank you for following us.